Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stecoah Valley Cultural Arts Center and our 18th season of an Appalachian Evening Concert Series. My name is Beth Fields, and this is Isaiah Brown. He's our sound assistant sound engineer. Thank you, Jeremy Brown, back in the back. He's going to be providing the sound tonight. We're glad to have him. So opening night is really special. It's special because we get to have this place and we get to have this music and we get to carry on the traditions of the mountains. One thing about opening night, we have our silent auction, and we've messed with y'all this year, and we've moved it from the textile studio to the old library here. We will be accepting bids through intermission. It gets kind of busy in there, no fighting or pushing or anything. But we will announce the winning bids right after the show, so we ask that you stick around if you've bid on something, that you take it with you tonight. That helps us. We don't have to call you or track you down or ship it to you or ban you from the building. So please visit the silent auction. In the textile studio, we have a visiting Cherokee language exhibit, so do please plan to go through that if you haven't already during intermission. So who saw the new roof? Anybody? Did y'all see the new roof? It was so nice today to come in and it be raining this morning and it not be leaking. And I would just really, it's been a couple of years, and I really thank Graham County government, our county commissioners, and our citizens, our taxpayers, for making that investment to protect this beautiful facility for future generations. We really appreciate it. So a couple other things that we've been working on in the off season. One is we received a $100,000 grant from the John William Pope Foundation to do our Courtyard of the Cherokee project. And yes, very exciting. So that will be an outdoor Cherokee exhibit that will connect both wings of the building. It's right out here in the middle. If you get a chance, look out the window. There's a big deck that's under construction now, and then there'll be a courtyard area with native plantings, and then the exhibit itself will be the Mask of the Seven Clans of the Eastern Band. So really excited about that, and we're hoping to have that area open by the Harvest Festival. So just really excited. We were the only arts organization in the state of North Carolina selected, so it's a really big honor to have received it. So a couple other things. We also are working on a feasibility study and market study for the future use of the gymnasium, and that was funded by the Appalachian Regional Commission. So we've got this main building pretty much renovated, but we need to decide and start planning for the future of the gymnasium. So those bids are due on Monday, so we will be having some public meetings. We hope that you can attend those and help us to determine what that use is going to be. Also, we recently were notified that we received a grant to upgrade our furnace units, to replace our furnace and window units with heating and air. So we've been a little busy. I want to also mention that we have hired an assistant executive director, Jennifer West. She's standing right here. And so she's learning all about what we do and the grant writing process. She's picked up the books pretty quick. It took me a 4-year learning curve, so I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, but as we grow, we need to be planning for the future leadership of the center. So we're here and excited to have Jennifer. And I'd also, while I'm mentioning our staff, Melinda's here and Kay's here and Nina and Terry and all the folks that have been here for several years. Just thank them and our volunteers so much for what they do to keep us going. We really appreciate it. Okay, I know I'm going to forget something. Graham County Travel and Tourism. They help us with promotion along with Graham County government. So I thank them. And Pinku Pottery is the sponsor of tonight's concert. So all of those grants and things that I mentioned, those are for projects, and we are continually fundraising, and we're coming up on our fiscal year end June 30th, and we're a little over budget on our outdoor restroom project. That was partially grant funded and partially we've been fundraising. So if you'd like to make a tax deductible contribution to the center, that helps pay salaries and other things that aren't covered in those project specific grants. So we'll be having buckets after, or if at intermission you want to get your checkbook out and find me, I'll find a pocket somewhere to stick that, and you can also donate online. The North Carolina Arts Council, they have been a supporter of ours for the last 20 years, and I know that David Holt and others have benefited from their work in North Carolina, and we really appreciate them too. So the last time David Holt was here, anybody know? Doc Watson, yeah, 2009. And then Josh was here back in 2007, and that was the first year I was here. So it's really nice to have them both together and both back. You know, we lose our friends like Doc, and I'm sitting here and looking in this front row, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sue and LJ Bullock, and we miss them very much. So Isaiah is going to introduce our band tonight.
Welcome to the stage, David Holt and Josh Goforth.
Thank you. It's just so great to be here. This is just hats off to you guys for making this work here out here in Stecoah Valley. It's just a wonderful place to play. We're glad to be back. I'm David Holt. This is Josh Goforth. We both live around Asheville, North Carolina, and play this old-time mountain music. I want to start off with a song from my buddy, Grandpa Jones. He was a very good friend of mine and did wonderful things for me. And Grandpa, I once asked him for some career advice. He said, "Take care of the words you say, make them short and sweet. You never know from day to day which ones you'll have to eat." So he learned this song from Uncle Dave Macon. I learned it from Grandpa. He learned from Uncle Dave Macon. It's an old song called Hoop 'Em Up Cindy. And in this song, when we sing Hoop 'Em Up Cindy, you guys just answer back with hey, hey. I'll show you how it works. Right out?
Yeah.
Cindy say yonder comes my foe. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hey, hey. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hey, hey. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hey, hey. Gone forevermore, now you try it. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hey, hoop 'em up Cindy. Hoop 'em up Cindy, gone forevermore. Well, Cindy was a rattling girl, Cindy was a rose. I love that Cindy girl, Lord Almighty knows. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hoop 'em up Cindy, hoop 'em up Cindy, gone forevermore. Play, God. Well, went up on the mountain, get my horn to blow. I'd heard my Cindy say, yonder comes my foe. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hoop 'em up Cindy, hoop 'em up Cindy, gone forevermore. Hoop 'em up Cindy, hoop 'em up Cindy, hoop 'em up Cindy, gone forevermore. All right, good singers we got tonight, Josh. Sounded good. to show you a picture of the first man to ever record the first country song in 1922. Actually, it was June 30th, 1922. Eck Robertson.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Nice. He's way ahead of me. It was 1922, and there had not been any recordings of any country music at all. They had done other recordings of other ethnic musics, but no mountain music. So Eck Robertson decided, he lived in Amarillo, Texas. He decided he was going to go up to New York and make a record. He went all the way, took the train all the way from Amarillo up to New York City, went into the Victor Talking Machine Company and said to the guy behind the desk, by the way, he was dressed in full Confederate uniform, that he wanted to record some old-time fiddle tunes. The guy didn't have any idea what he was talking about. Well, he took out his fiddle and he played for him, and as it happened, Eck Robertson's still one of the best fiddlers ever. Wouldn't you think? I mean, don't you agree? I mean, he's just incredible. And didn't have any DVDs to learn from or YouTube or anything like that. He just was good. So we're going to play 3 of the songs he recorded that next day because they saw that he was fantastic, and recorded these 3 songs. Ragtime Annie is the last one, Arkansas Traveler is the first one, and Forked Deer is the middle.
June 30th.
June 30th, yeah.
Coming up. 1922, that's when he recorded.
So I came to the mountains looking for banjo players, old clawhammer banjo players, but I found people playing all sorts of unusual things, like Carluck Stooksbury playing the mouth bow. This is clearly the oldest stringed instrument in the world. Doesn't get much simpler than that. A stick with a string on it. So you play it by just putting it up against your mouth, not in your mouth, and you just pluck the string and it gets a sound like this. And you move your mouth around bigger or smaller and it changes the note a little bit. Now Josh has got another instrument.
The paper bag.
We didn't make this up.
Now, not only the paper bag, but the David Holt model paper bag, everybody. I mean.
Actually, what happened, I played the paper bag the first time I was on the Opry in 1980, and I said in the thing, talking to the audience, that the Stradivarius of paper bags is the Union Camp 20. And Union Camp heard me do that, and they sent me 2,000 bags. I'm still using them from 1980. So I want to do a song. We're doing mostly old-timey stuff, but I want to do a song that I wrote that sounds old-timey. It's about the drovers that used to drive cattle and pigs
from, well, Asheville all the way to Charleston. I'm sure they did this around here too. Do you guys know, did they drive to Atlanta maybe?
Knoxville.
To Knoxville, okay, that makes sense. So this is a song for the drovers because there's no song about them except this one. Well, it takes 3 months on the drover's road to get these hogs to market. Oh, I'll come back with a wagon load and a few coins in my pocket. Trading hogs for china dishes, coffee guns and salted fishes. I may never know what riches, all I do is barter. Now a drover's work is never done. He's going or he's coming. I'll drive these hogs to Charleston, 10,000 hooves drumming. Trading hogs for china dishes, coffee guns and salted fishes. I may never know what riches, all I do is barter. Well, we turn our corn into sour mash, from sour mash to whiskey. It'll keep them warm on a winter's night and make their loving frisky. Trading hogs for china dishes, coffee guns and salted fishes. I may never know what riches, all I do is barter. Thank you. So this is the oldest person I ever met. I've learned almost all this music from old folks, but this lady was exceptional. She was the oldest woman in the world in 1992. She was 122 years old. Her name was Susie Brunson. She lived in Wilmington, North Carolina, with her youngest of 12 children, the only one still living, and that daughter's name was Mary, and she was 89 years old. She said her mother had been telling her what to do since the Hoover administration. Now, she loved for me to come play the mouth bow and the banjo and all that. She loved that. Of course, she was born in the 1870s because that was kind of her music. But what she really wanted me to learn to do was play the washboard. She said that was the only instrument they had in the black community in Bamberg, South Carolina, where she was growing up. And she hadn't heard one, she said, in 112 years. So I got myself a washboard and had her show me how to play it. She was very particular about how it should be played. She said, get some thimbles, just sewing thimbles, and put them on your fingers. And she said, now don't scrub it. Don't scrub it like the people on TV do. She was talking about the Cajun players that would play like this. She said, no, we just tapped it because we had to do all of our music on the washboard. Put a little wood block at the bottom, a little tin cup at the side. And there you have your home entertainment center for the 1870s. Now Josh has got another old-timey instrument.
It's a stick with bottle caps nailed to it. And actually, David got this from over in Burnsville, North Carolina, just across the mountain from where I grew up in Madison County. And people would use it actually as the one instrument they would play while people would just dance to it. And they call it over there in Burnsville a stump fiddle. Sounds like this.
Excellent. We're going to do a song, two songs actually. We're going to do a song from this lady right here, Bessie Jones from the Georgia Sea Islands. And then go into a tune from my friend Doc Watson called Rain Crow Bill. I got the left hind leg of a rabbit. Things are coming my way. All I got to do is just reach out and grab it, 'cause things are coming my way. Oh Lord, how happy I feel. I got possession of an automobile. Don't have to work, don't have to steal, and things are coming my way. Got one lucky penny in my left hind pocket. Things are coming my way. Never be broke just as long as I got it, 'cause things are coming my way. Oh Lord, how happy I feel. I got possession of an automobile. Don't have to work, don't have to steal, and things are coming my way. Things are coming my way. Things are coming my way. Thank you.
Mighty fine washboard playing, David.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to do a song that actually I learned from the Luke Smathers String Band. Luke Smathers, one of my fiddle heroes. One of the first records I ever owned was actually the Luke Smathers String Band with David playing in the band.
That's right.
That's where I learned my first fiddle tune. And Luke and his brothers, they loved to play the old traditional fiddle tunes from the area, but what they really loved was to play swing music. So they would take the car battery out and hook it up to the radio, and they would listen to all these great old programs where they'd hear swing and Tin Pan Alley music. And their sister was a secretary, and she knew shorthand, so she would shorthand the words, and they would, of course, hear it one time through and have to have it learned by memory on the fiddles, banjos, and guitars.
Luke would try to get the melody on the fiddle. Harold would try to get the guitar chords on the guitar, and Leona would write down the words, because they knew it was radio. They might only hear it once, like Josh said. This is one of those tunes that's found in one of those old notebooks.
And it's on our newest album.
Yes, it is. So it is.
It's called Darkness on the Delta. Darkness on the Delta, that's the time my heart is light. When it's darkness on the Delta, let me linger in the shelter of the night. There's fields of cotton, they're all around me. The folks are singing sweet and low. Lord, it's lucky that she found me where the muddy Mississippi waters flow. Now lounging on the levee and listening to the nightingale way up above. Laughter on the levee, no one's heart is heavy, 'cause all God's children got someone to love. When it's darkness on the Delta, that's the time my heart is light. When it's darkness on the Delta, let me linger in the shelter of the night. levee and listening to the nightingale. Way up above, oh, it's laughter on the levee. No one's heart is heavy, 'cause all God's children got someone to love. When it's darkness on the delta, that's the time my heart is lying. When it's darkness on the delta, let me linger in the shelter of the Thank you all. Well, I'll tell you what, David, since you played here with Doc, let's do a Doc tune.
Let's do it. Let's see, I got a picture of Doc. Luckily, I love photography as well as music, so I thought you'd like to see Doc that I got to play with for 14 years. It was wonderful, and one of our fun concerts was right here in this hall.
When I was a kid, I wanted to play just like Doc Watson. I had this album of Doc, and it was a live album. And on the album, before somebody would take a solo, he would say, "Pick it, son." I wanted to hear that so bad that I would sit on the edge of my bed and I would play rhythm guitar just like this. And right before I'd take a break, I'd go, "Pick it, son," and then I'd take my break. So when I finally got to start playing some music with David back in 2001, David introduced me to Doc, and I got to get on stage with Doc, and I got to hear the words, "Pick it, son," so I can die a happy man. This is probably one of the tunes we might have played that day. This is one that fiddle tune, actually. He plays on guitar, flat picking guitar. It's called "I Don't Love Nobody and Nobody Loves Me." But I promise it's a happy sounding tune, so here we are.
That's pretty great, Josh. Josh and I met, he was, I guess, what, you were about 12 years old?
Yep, 12 years old.
I was performing for the Madison County Middle School, and his teacher, who was a friend of mine and a relative of his, said, I have this young guy here, he'd like to play with you in the concert. Well, this was in front of 800 junior high schoolers. I thought, that's pretty bold, because that's the hardest audience in the world. And he got up and did great, and that's how we met. And then,
David gave me a couple of he actually sent me a couple albums in the mail, and I went home and feverishly worked on those. And then he gave me a call. Actually, I practiced like crazy, and he gave me a call in 2001. He was putting a band together to go to Switzerland, and we've been playing together ever since.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So let's do this Bascom Lunsford tune. Bascom Lunsford started the very first folk festival in America, still going, started in 1928. Let me show you his picture. This is not one that I took, but a historic picture of him, but I wanted to show it to you because he's in a tuxedo. Bascom was very particular, he didn't want mountain music to seem hokey. You know, in those days, mountain musicians would always be posed on hay bales with straws out of their mouth and you know, work pants and all that kind of stuff. Well, he said, you know, it was music that deserved respect, and so he always performed in a tuxedo. And this is one of the songs that he collected up there in Buncombe County. He posed as a tree salesman. I say he posed because he was actually a lawyer, and he found it was a lot easier to go up to a house up in the mountains, you know, way back in the mountains, and looking for music and say, knock, 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 I'm selling fruit trees, rather than knock, 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 I'm a lawyer. And this is one of those great songs he got.
Oh, it's sad to be parted from those that we love. Strange faces we see every day. Each heartstring of mine is broken in time when I think of those dear ones at home. Goodbye, dear old Stepstone, goodbye to my home. God bless those I leave with a sigh. I'll cherish fond memories when I am far away, to roam o'er this wide world alone. I stood on my doorstep at evening and morn. The wind whistled by with a moan. Fields will be whitening and I will be gone, to roam o'er this wide world alone. Goodbye, dear old Stepstone, goodbye to my home. God bless those I leave with a sigh. I'll cherish fond memories when I am far away, to roam o'er this wide world alone. Stood on my doorstep when school time was over. I wished for the time to go by. Oh, now it has gone, and I'll stand here alone to bid this old Stepstone goodbye. Goodbye, dear old Stepstone, goodbye to my home. God bless those I leave with a sigh. I'll cherish fond memories when I am far away, to roam o'er this wide world alone.
Have you had a chance to see the David Holt State of Music TV show? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, keep your eye out for it. It's every Thursday night for the next about 7 weeks at 9:30 on UNC TV on public television. And it's nationwide, so it's kind of cool that we're getting all this exposure around the country for our music around here. And one of the people that's in the show, in fact, the show next week will be Wayne Henderson and Jeff Little. And oh, you know Wayne, okay. So Wayne is an old friend, and we definitely wanted to have him on the show. He's a great guitar player, and Jeff is a fabulous mountain piano player like you've never seen before. And the other thing about Wayne, though, is he makes guitars, and I just wanted to point out that both the guitars we're playing are made by Wayne Henderson, and we love these guitars, and we're just noticing how good they sound together. Man, just really something. And so Wayne was just a mountain guitar player, you know, known to anybody who played guitar in the mountains, but not outside the area really, until Eric Clapton bought one of his guitars. So he was having it custom made, of course, and so one of Eric Clapton's envoys came over to Rugby, Virginia, where Wayne lives. Now, Rugby, Virginia is basically surrounded by Christmas tree lots, you know, people growing Christmas trees, and cars up on blocks, and people growing beans and stuff like that, just way out in the country. And Wayne has a shop up next to his house where people sit around, come visit him and whittle and talk and sit by the potbelly stove while Wayne works on guitars. So this envoy came from England, and he looked around and he said, "Now, what are you going to do about security when Eric gets here?" Wayne said, "Security? It's not like he's Ralph Stanley." Well, a lot of you probably grew up in the same era I did, and if you remember, the music was not that easy to come by. You could turn on the radio and hear some horrible stuff like "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?" or listen to Lawrence Welk and watch these people break their teeth by smiling so hard. But you just couldn't get the kind of music that you necessarily wanted to hear. And when my mother bought the Tennessee Ernie Ford record of 16 Tons, that just changed my life. I loved the rhythm of the brushes on the drum, and I started taking drums after that. And I loved the sound of the guitar and the simple singing and the words. I just love that tune. I played it so many times, it was on 78, that you could hear what was playing on the other side. So you can imagine how excited I was when finally I started playing on Hee Haw in 1980, and I got to play with Tennessee Ernie Ford. He replaced Kenny Price as the bass singer in the gospel quartet, so he was always there. I'll tell you in a minute about how we recorded that show. It was kind of neat. But I want to think about Tennessee Ernie Ford and how important this song was to me, and probably to you too, I bet. 16 Tons. Feel this like you can sing on it if you want to. Right out. Now some people say a man's made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood and skin and bone. Well, a mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You lose 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. But St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Well, I was born one morning when the sun didn't shine. I picked up my shovel and I walked to the mine. I loaded 16 tons of number 9 coal, and the straw boss said, "Oh, well, bless my soul, you load 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store." Well, I was born one morning in the drizzling rain. Fighting in trouble was my middle name. I was raised in a canebrake by an O'Shea line. In a high-tone woman, I made me walk the line. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. See me coming, you better step aside. A lot of men didn't, and a lot of men died. But one fist of iron and the other of steel. If the rival don't get you, then left one will. You 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. So Josh, I wanted to tell you these. I didn't tell you in the car because I was thinking about these stories on the way down here. So when we would tape Hee Haw, they would fly the whole cast into Nashville. People lived all over the United States, and they would come, and for a week we would be together. And when they would tape a segment, they would just say, okay, we need, for the 4 harmonica players, we need David and Grandpa and Roy and Roy Clark, too. And we would all get down there, and then we'd tape a couple of those things, and then we'd go hang out and just talk until they needed you for something else. It was really fun, and I always hung out with Grandpa and Roy because they had the best stories. And one time we were standing backstage, and Minnie Pearl, we're talking to Minnie Pearl, and the 3 of them were talking about how they were recognized on the street sometimes, or how they weren't. And Minnie Pearl said that a guy came up to her and said, "Has anybody ever told you you look like Minnie Pearl?" She said, "Well, yes, they have." He said, "Doesn't that just make you so mad?" And Grandpa said he was mowing his lawn there in Mountain View, Arkansas, out in front of the house, and a lady stopped and asked directions into town, and he told her, and then she looked at him a little closer. She said, "You know, you look just like Grandpa Jones." He said, "Well, if you see him, tell him I feel sorry for him." And Roy Acuff chimed in. He said, "Well, I was mowing the lawn one time out in front of my house in Nashville, and a lady pulled up in a big black Cadillac, and she rolled down the window, and she said, 'Young man, how much do you charge for mowing a lawn?' He said, 'Well, I don't really charge anything. The lady at this place lets me sleep with her to mow her lawn.'" And I had just been on Nashville Now the night before, and one of the guests was Justin Tubb, Ernest Tubb's son, and Ralph Emery said to him, "Well, Justin, I guess Ernest Tubb's your hero." He said, No, Hank Williams is my hero. Ernest Tubb is just the old guy that walks around my house in his underwear."
Oh, goodness. David's going to pull out the steel guitar, and we'll do you a blues song, actually, a mountain blues song. That, of course, Doc Watson did this. Several people have done this. I heard it from the time I was a little kid. It's called "Sitting on Top of the World." She went away. Oh, but now she's gone, but I don't worry. Well, I'm sitting on top of the world. And she called me up past San Antone. She said, "Come on, baby. Well, you know that I need you so." Oh yeah, she's gone, Lord, but I don't worry, because I'm sitting on top of the world. River, Lord, it's running deep and wide, and I got me a woman way on the other side. 'Cause now she's gone, but I don't worry, because I'm sitting on top of the world. What do you think about it, David Holt? my peaches. Lordy, don't you shake my tree. Stay out of my orchard, and honey, let my peaches be. Oh, but now she's gone, Lord, but I don't worry, because you know I'm sitting on top of the world. I said she's gone, Lord, but I don't worry. Well, you know I'm sitting on top of the world. Well, we'll do one more for you, and David, we got our records right down here.
Yeah, man, we got all kind of stuff. Do we have any? Let's see, we've got our new one called Good Medicine. It's guaranteed to leave no toe left untapped. Put you in a better mood. Actually, what it really is we took all these great songs from Western North Carolina to sort of show the variety of music in this part of the world. The mountain music isn't just fiddle tunes or just, Carter family songs. It's a lot of stuff. And we tried to show that on this CD. It's a good one, I promise. Let's do John Henry.
Let's do it.
Well, this is one from that CD, as a matter of fact. This is a version of John Henry. From Etta Baker. Etta Baker was a wonderful guitar player from Morganton, North Carolina, and she played regular fingerstyle guitar, but she also played slide guitar, and she could really get after it. There she is at 93 years old, having just come back from the John Henry Tunnel. She was so excited about it. She was so excited because she brought me a spike from the John Henry Tunnel. Is that it? And she was so excited she brought back two, one for herself and one for me. She said, I know John Henry hit this spike because he was so strong, he just bent it. I said, I'll cherish it forever. John Henry, gonna bring that steam drill around. Gonna put that steam drill out on the job. I'm gonna put that old steel on down, Lord, Lord. Gonna put that old steel on down. Well, John Henry said to the captain, well, a man ain't nothing but a man. And before I let that steam drill beat me down, gonna die with that hammer in my hand, Lord, Lord. Gonna die with that hammer in my hand. Well, John Henry driving all around. John Henry to the tunnel. They buried him in the sand. Every little woman comes passing by. She says, there lies my steel driving man, Lord, Lord. There lies my steel driving man. There lies my steel driving man, Lord, Lord. There lies my steel driving man. Thank you. We'll take a short break. Be back for more. My dad. We look a lot alike. So my dad is playing a pair of bones made by my great-great-grandfather in the Civil War. His name was John Oscar Holt, and he was from Alamance County, North Carolina. He's the one that left Alamance County and moved to Texas before the Civil War. And then I grew up in Texas until we moved to California. But playing bones was part of our kind of heritage. Every male generation had to learn how to play the bones in my family. They weren't musicians. It was just this odd thing that was handed down. And so we're going to play some fiddle tunes on the bones, and the other instrument I learned from my dad, the spoons. So I was going to college in California at UC Santa Barbara, and I heard a recording from Aubrey Ramsey from Madison County, North Carolina. It was called Ballads or Banjo Songs of the Blue Ridge. And on that, one of the songs, he was playing all traditional stuff, except for there's one song he wrote called The French Broad River. And the words of that song just made me think, I got to see that place. It sounds so romantic and so full of history and so full of music. So it was this song, really, that brought me to the mountains that first time in 1969. Of course, Aubrey was another case, but he was one of these guys that didn't want to show you anything. And so when I was trying to see how you played this song, he put a handkerchief over his hand so I couldn't see. But it was only a 2-chord song, so it really wasn't a whole lot to see. But at his house where I went to see him, I met his cousin Bard Ray, who was very wonderful to me and taught me many tunes. But let's do Aubre's song, The French Broad River.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
In the mountains and the valleys where the French Broad River flows, if it could write the history of the mighty things it knows, it would write of Boone and Crockett, Jackson and the Cherokee, flowing down from Carolina to the hills of Tennessee. From the pink bed to the painted rock, the Indian he did stand, up and down the river with a bow in his right hand. Coming from the lowlands, dressed in buckskin with a gun, the white man moving west with the setting of the sun. She sings her mighty song. Up the French Broad Valley you can hear a lonesome sound. That's the bloodhound howling as he runs the black bear down. Come and sit down by the river, linger with it all day long. You can hear a million voices join together in this song. The far-off cry of bygone days still lingers in the air. On the bosom of the river you can hear them singing there.
That was the first tune that Uncle Jimmy Thompson played that very first night on the Grand Ole Opry, November 28th, 1925. He played that and many other fiddle tunes by himself for 6 hours, and people liked it so much they demanded that he come back, and that was the beginning of the Grand Ole Opry. That was the song that started it. So the next oldest person I ever met after Susie Brunson died was this lady right here, Mary Thompson. She was 120. And she also loved the washboard. And when I get around these old folks, I got to ask them two things. One, how you lived that long? And two, what was your favorite song when you were a little girl? Because she was, in the 1870s, she was a little girl. Who knows what would be their favorite song? She said, oh, well, that's easy. She said, Greasy Greens. I said, I never even heard of Greasy Greens. She said, well, it was a good one. I said, well, can you hum a little of it for me? She said, well, honey, I haven't heard it in 105 years. I don't believe I can hum that for you. I said, well, let me ask my buddy George Higgs. Here's a picture of George. He lived down in Tarboro, North Carolina, a wonderful harmonica player. And he said, you know, I don't play it, but I think I've heard it. I think I can put it together for you enough that you can go back and play it for Mary Thompson. So here it is. We told you the Stradivarius of the paper bags, that's the Union Camp 20, but the Stradivarius of the washboard is the Zinc King lingerie model. The zinc has a nice dead tone, a metal one, a steel one that's just too irritating to your ears. Are we ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Now way down south where I was born, didn't raise nothing but cotton and corn. Green tomatoes and black-eyed peas, oh good Lord, them greasy greens. And that's what I want now. Hey pretty mommy, you just got them done. Soft and easy, good and greasy.
How I love those greasy greens, crazy about my greasy greens.
Now I'm a man from New Orleans, crazy about my greasy greens. If I don't get them 3 times a day, well, I'll get mad and I'll walk away. And that's what I want now. Hey, pretty mama, just got them done. Soft and easy, good and greasy.
How I love those greasy greens, crazy about my greasy green washboard.
That's what I want now. Hey, pretty mama, you just got them done. Soft and easy, good and greasy.
How I love those greasy greens, crazy about my greasy green, crazy about my greasy green, crazy about my greasy green.
This is an old-timey mountain banjo they probably had around here back in after the Civil War. They think that this pattern kind of was invented up around Boone. See, mountain boys left the mountains having never seen a banjo, most of them, and when they got to the Civil War, they saw, not as fancy as the one I was playing, but banjos with metal parts and sort of machine-made. Well, they had no way of making those metal parts, so they were being ingenious mountain boys that they were. They came up with this instrument right here. Groundhog hide for a head, very small so they could keep it tight. Cat guts for strings. No metal in the whole thing except a few screws to hold it together in the back. No frets on it, so you slide in between the notes. Friction pegs, meaning there's no gears on the pegs. You just have to kind of tune them the best you can. Spend most of your time tuning or playing out of tune, either one. But it has a great tone. You can just hear the old mountains in this thing. And this is a tune that really gives you that feeling of that combination of English, Scotch, Irish, and African American. That's what this mountain music is. That's how it sounds different than Irish music or Scottish music. It's because that hybrid was a very powerful thing in all of our musics here in America. Georgie Buck.
Georgia Buck, never had no luck, always been treated this way, boy, always been treated this way. I said, oh me, oh Lordy my, always been treated this way. Well now, cornbread and beans is all I ever seen, and I ain't gonna be treated this way, boy. Ain't gonna be treated this way. I said, oh me, oh Lord and my, ain't gonna be treated this way. Let's play it now. And the last words he said was, dig me a hole in the ground, boys, dig me a hole in the ground. I said, oh me, oh Lord my, dig me a hole in the ground. I said, oh me, oh Lord my, dig me a hole in the ground.
Doc Watson was my main mentor in this music, and a lot in life too, because I traveled many thousands of miles with him. We played as a duo for many years. Let's see, I got another picture of him right here. Of course, Doc was blind, and one of the great folk musicians America's ever produced. Any kind of musician, really, not just a folk musician. He was fabulous. The most musical person I've ever met. And he was very emotional, a very emotional man. He could tap his emotions very quickly and put them into his music or into a conversation. I remember one time we were riding along. I was driving, of course. And
I hope.
Yeah. And Doc was sitting there next to me in the passenger seat, twiddling his thumbs. This is what he did. Blind people have a lot of time to think because they're not looking around at stuff. They're just thinking. And he would just keep him occupied. He'd be twiddling his thumbs, and they started going faster and faster and faster and faster. I knew something was coming. He looked over at me and he said, "David, I'm so mad at Thomas Edison." I said, "Thomas Edison, Doc? I think he died about 85 or 100 years ago." He said, "I don't care. I'm still mad at him." I said, "What happened? What did he do?" He said, "Well, he hired Tesla, and Tesla had invented alternating current, and he told Tesla that it wouldn't work, and he'd give him $50,000 if he could make it work. Well, Tesla made it work, and so Thomas Edison would only give him a $10 a week raise. And Tesla got insulted and he quit. He said, "It makes me so mad I could just box Thomas Edison's ears." And he'd get very emotional about something like that. But the amazing thing about it is he could put the emotion into his music too, in a heartbeat. It's not easy to do. And this is one of the tunes I learned from him that I think is one of his best. I've been racking my brain. I've got to find a way out. I'm getting tired of this continual rain. A change is coming, no doubt. It's been a too long time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. A long, lonely time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. Take from me what I cannot give. No happiness can I find. I've got a dream that I am trying to live. It's burning holes in my mind. It's been a too long time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better. A long, lonely time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times to get better.
How many of you know who Arthur Smith is, or was? Some of you out there at the Arthur Smith Show. Most of you know his music, you just don't realize that you know his music. He was a wonderful guitar player and also owned one of the first major studios really here in North Carolina, down in Charlotte. In fact, if you've heard Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, James Brown, that was recorded in his studio. But he became famous for several different tunes, one of them being... which was one of the first major lawsuits in music. He won a lot of money. Yeah, actually won a ton of money because somebody stole the song and didn't give him credit. Eric Weisberg, that's right. And but before he wrote that song and was famous for that song, he was famous for this one right here. And it's what gave him his nickname, Arthur Guitar Boogie Smith. Here's the Guitar Boogie.
Josh Goforth.
Thank you.
Want to guitar ride? Yeah, man, that's some good playing, Josh.
Thank you.
That's hard to do, I might say. So, Tennessee Ernie Ford sang 16 Tons, but it was written by Merle Travis. And Merle was a great guitar player, fingerstyle guitar player, and wrote a lot of wonderful tunes, that and Darkened as a Dungeon, many other songs you've heard. But this is a song that he wrote for his mentor, a fellow named Mose Rager, who was from Muhlenberg County. And he didn't really want to make, he didn't want a sappy song. A lot of tribute songs are kind of sappy songs, but this one isn't. It really has a nice little feel to it. Apparently Mose had this little rhythm that he would do, and so he took that and sort of made this song, Guitar Rag. Ready? There's a fella mighty lucky by the way he makes a guitar moan. He keeps hanging around, picking around the country store, picking like a chicken, picking up corn. Every girl in the county gathers all around him, cause he's got the rhythm in his bones. And the feet start scooting with a shuffle and drag. When you hear the rhythm of the guitar rag, he made the guitar moan, made it grumble and groan. When you start picking and plugging them strings, he can make the deacon do the buck and wing. All the fat and the skinny does a little shimmy, and the head start to wiggle and wag. The feet start scooting with a shuffle and drag when they hear the rhythm of the guitar rag. And wing. All the fat and the skinny does a little shimmy, and the head start to wiggle and wag, and the feet start scooting with a shovel and drag when they hear the rhythm of the guitar rag. Which one do you want to do? My left? Okay.
We'll get David to grab his steel. We'll do a couple more for you.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a sing-along song about a guy on death row. It was written by Jimmy Rogers, not Jimmy Rogers the singing break man, but Jimmy Rogers the singing blues man who played with Muddy Waters. And they were sitting around one night talking, the whole band was sitting around and talking about what they would like to eat if they were, had one last meal and they were on death row. And of course they were all saying the fanciest things they could possibly think of to eat. And Jimmy said, no, that's not what I'd be looking for. So I'd be looking for something that was really hard to find and took a long time to cook. And so he came up with this song. It's got a little part for you too. We'll show you how we got it when we get there. I heard the warden say, Son, you have one more meal. And one more day. Now if we ain't got it, we'll go out and get it, 'cause you don't have to die till we get back with it. So I said, bring me 2 dinosaur eggs over easy, fried in butter and not too greasy, cobra tooth and a tiger steak and a whole hippopotamus. Well, big, now go, this is your part, and get my dinner. Go and get my dinner. You ain't got it, go out and get it, 'cause I don't have to die till you get back with it. Now bring me a cup of crocodile tears, a purple watermelon and alligator ears, 2 cross-eyed, a catfish with a bowl of wavy gravy in a left-hand dish. Now go and get my dinner. Go and get my dinner.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't got it, go out and get it, 'cause I don't have to die till you get back. Bring me an order of rattlesnake hips, fork of his tongue and both of his lips, leopard spot and a tiger stripe, and don't come back till it's cooked just right. Now go and get my dinner. Go and get my dinner. You ain't got it, go out and get it, 'cause I don't have to die till you get back with it. Chocolate in 100-pound blocks, root beer float in a cardboard box. I'm gonna eat and drink my fill, 'cause Lord knows this is my last meal. Now go and get my dinner. Go and get my dinner. You ain't got it, go out and get it, 'cause I don't have to die till you get back with it. Go and get my dinner. You ain't got it, go out and get it.
We want to say a special thank you to Jeremy.
Yeah, man,
What
great
amazing
job on the sound,
man.
It's so fun to play in a room where you can hear.
Awesome.
That's great. Thank you, man. So we're going to close out with one more song. I grew up, as I said, in Garland, Texas, part of my life, and we had a train that came in our backyard, and my mother would sometimes say to my brother and me when we were fighting, "Why don't you boys go out on the railroad tracks and play?" And she wasn't kidding. In fact, she'd make us a whole little lunch to take with us to go down there. And we would get under the trestle there and spend all day hunting for crawdads and catching tadpoles and making make a build a fire and bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches. What we were doing was waiting for the 3:15 train, which was the Rock Island Line. Now, we had the old 78 of Leadbelly singing the Rock Island Line. So this was like amazing that it came within a half a mile of our house. And it said on the side of the train in big orange letters, Rock Island Line, coming right over there. Well, it got us so excited that we would crawl up under the trestle and we would lie down on the dirt with our face facing the bottom of the ties. And the train basically would just run right over the tops of our heads. I mean, we weren't going to get hurt, hopefully, but it was really loud. And we got under that train. It was so exciting to have that train sort of just go right over your head. And we did that until we realized that when people flush a toilet on a train. So this is a song I wrote for my mama about her sending us out to... Thank you guys for coming tonight. Thanks for having us. What a pleasure it's been. Well, the Rock Island Line had a Texas run from the Windy City down to Galveston. Mama let us play on the railroad tracks, waiting for the train to come back. Singing the Rock Island Line is a mighty fine line. The Rock Island Line is a road to ride. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Trestle on our backs, hear the train roaring down the track. I close my eyes, full of dread, as the Rock Island Line rolls over my head. Singing, the Rock Island Line is a mighty fine line. The Rock Island Line is a road to ride. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. I've been crazy, at least possessed, to let that train roll over our chest. But we just loved the rush we'd feel to be a few inches from the driver wheel. Singing, the Rock Island Line is a mighty fine line. The Rock Island Line is a road to ride. If you want to ride it, gotta ride it like you find it. Get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Josh Goforth. Thank you.
David Holt, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. We're not going to make you work for that.
We're going to do another one anyway. No, thank you all so much. No. You guys are great. Can we take y'all everywhere we go?
Yeah. We have a bus out back. You'll just pack up your stuff and come on with us. So, I feel like I've spent most of my life learning from old folks, some of the oldest people in the world. And like I said before, I asked them two questions. One, how do you live that long? And what was your favorite song? And how they live that long is always pretty interesting to me. Susie Brunson, the 122-year-old lady, she said she lived that long by eating ice cream every day and being good to everybody. I thought that was great news, too. Mary Thompson, the 120-year-old lady, she said, all you got to do is just mind your own business. Good advice. A 116-year-old lady named Savannah Jones up in Brooklyn, she said she lived that long by eating bacon every day. I know, I thought that was pretty great. I have a 97-year-old friend who said that staying social is very important to live a long time. And so he had joined a Romeo group. I said, oh, that sounds promising. He said, well, not so much. It stands for Retired Old Men Eating Out. My friend Wade Maynor. Wade's picture's up here somewhere. It was anyway. There it is. Wade Maynor. He said, don't tell people your problems. Half the people are glad you got them, and the other half don't want to hear them. My friend Mabel McIntyre, who just passed away at 95, I asked her how she kept such a great, she was sick and she always kept such a great attitude. She said, well, I always look at life with humor. You always have to have humor with you. That's what makes it last. And I said, well, that's really good. And she said, well, and I always keep a joke with me, a favorite joke or so, to have it ready at any time. I said, really? Well, what's your favorite joke? She just busts into it. She just said, well, a cardiologist goes into a dance and he sees one of his elderly patients dancing with a really beautiful young woman, shapely young woman. They're just cutting a rug, having a big time. And in the break, the doctor goes up to him and says, you look like you're doing pretty good. He said, well, I'm just taking your advice, doc. He said, really, what advice did I give you? You said, be cheerful and get a hot mama. No, I said, be careful, you have a heart murmur. But I think the old ballad singer Deli Norton said it best when she said, well, I love everybody and everybody loves me. And by goodness, they did. Everybody did love her, and she loved everybody back, just pretty much open arms. And it really worked for her. And I realized that if you lived that way, if you had love in your heart, it didn't make any difference if you had very little money, like Etta Baker, and lived that way, or like Roy Acuff and had millions of dollars and lived that way. You had a satisfied life. So we'll close out with this song, and your part goes like this. You got to sing it with us. If you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, then you'll be satisfied. Try it. If you've got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, then you'll be satisfied. One more time. If you've got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, then you'll be satisfied. Now if you got a bank account, if you've got a bank account, if you've got a bank account, then you've got a bank account. But if you've got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, then you'll be satisfied. Play it, Josh. Got a fancy car, if you got a fancy car, if you got a fancy car, then. But if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, then you'll be satisfied. Self-forgiveness, being grateful as you go. Yeah, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, if you got love in your heart, then you'll be satisfied. Then you'll be satisfied. Then you'll be satisfied. Thank you, folks. Check out David Holt's State of Music, 9:30 on Thursdays for the next 7 weeks. Thank you.